Oh my God. Oh my God, I'm actually live. Okay. Well, let's see here. Oh, I'm live. Okay. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, let's take this off. What's going on? Is it this? I have no idea. Is it this? I have no idea. Is it this? Oh my gosh. I know. I'm live. I finally figured it out, but I have no idea what this noise is. I'm live. I finally figured it out, but I have no idea what this noise is. Oh wait, there's two of me somewhere. Why is there two of me? Oh wait, there's. I wonder if that fixed it. Okay, did that fix it, Amazing Grace? Oh my God. Okay, so I think I got it figured out. This is so strange. Okay, so you can hear me and I don't have any feedback and everything is good to go, right? Okay. So you know how you have this really great idea of stuff that you want to talk about, and then you have all kinds of technical problems, and then after you get those technical problems like kind of solved, then you're like, I don't even know what I was going to talk about anymore. That's kind of where I am, right? I actually wrote some notes, so oh my Lord. Okay, so I think the first thing that I want to do is I want to call it all my guides and my peeps and my angels and ancestors, and I want to do a little blessing, like little blessing, little protection, all that stuff. And then we can chat, right? I don't even know how to like get you in the link because it didn't even come up through Google Hangouts. Like normally I would have Google Hangouts and then people could join, which would be really fun, but I don't have Google Hangouts. So, but I do have chat visible, so we can chat via chat, I guess. Okay. Nashataya so bojatia kotananiato, Galeatania satu montiatasha, Kalahana, Kakioto, Mojota, Kakana Ioshonatisiata. Ipialono to tika machiniatiasa, Kana Hanatieto, to Bushianatia Kana Anatiata, Kana Shia Pala, Hashana, Sinatiata Konoshotatiapa, Naiako Onotopiasha, Kana Hanata, Siapala Shanatiata. Namaste. Okay. Yay, there's 3 people watching. Okay, so today what I thought I wanted to talk to you guys about is thank you, Amazing Grace. um, is hey, clear vibrations, awesome. Is navigating the spiral of life as a starseed and light worker and our missions and just sharing our stories. So what prompted this is the fact that like I tried, I've been really bad about it this year, but I try to like keep everybody who wants to hear it or who wants to listen updated on like what I go through and how I solve things and what I learn, and just like an uplifting sort of, like, it was really hard, it sucked, but I came out on the other side, and if I can do it, you guys can do it too. And this is specifics of what happened to me, and this is how I did it. And so so I've been wanting to do a video like that for you guys and kind of give you an idea of what's been all going on and how I try to navigate the best I can, being a starseed and a light worker, and staying on my missions, even when things get tough and crazy, and just like what I learned about it. And so I don't know if any of you guys have ever watched any of my other videos regarding this, like regarding the updates of things. I've tried to do 3 videos since, and this is the reason I'm live tonight. I've tried to do 3 videos since on this topic of just updating, and there always something always happens, whether like crazy things, like I will be done videoing and the video is fine from my end. I flip it around to watch it, and there are literally like sections of the video cut out, randomly just missing. And I'm not sure how it can be done so fast or what's going on, but like specific words won't be there that I mentioned. And so it's been really frustrating for me. And so this is one of the reasons I'm going live. And I thought we could share our stories, because I thought we were going to be in Google Hangout and I thought we could like go back and forth, but we still can in chat. And I'm more than happy to like give more information on the stuff that I want to share. But I know it's hard for us. It's really hard, especially for starseeds who come into Earth, whether it's their first time here or they've been here numerous times, but maybe they weren't here the last time. And so being back here on Earth is very difficult in so many ways. And I struggle with that also. And I've been really quiet lately. And one of the reasons is because I've been struggling. And I'm on the other side of it now. But this is what I want to talk about. And so feel free to like ask questions, or even just tell me your stories in the chat. I'm sorry we have to do it chat-wise instead of all live like I thought. But we can still do this. So, all right, so we all know that life has spirals, right? And once we go down, we're going to always go back up. And so this is what I've been going through. I'm sure you guys have been going through that. Clear Vibration says she's going through an intense, sad feelings of despair. I'm totally there with you. And actually, I can tell you this. So this is what I was told by my guides, because I was talking to them about how after this whole process, which I'll talk about in a second, I just have all these over emotional feelings of just complete despair, complete sadness. What is even the point of us being here, right? And it's been going on for months. And what they told me was this. They said, you were just through a really traumatic time and you're still healing from that. So basically what you're doing is you're this brand new baby, and everything is so over the top emotional for you right now. And that is why you're thinking about things in a completely different way than you normally would. So everything is very intense. Like if you feel sadness, it is just absolute despair, because you're like a little baby starting out again. You've gone through the spiral, and now you're climbing back up. And so at the bottom of that spiral, everything seems really intense, but as you learn from it and you keep going, and that's the problem when you get down here, which is where I am or was. I'm still on the lower rungs. You have to find something in your day to keep pushing you up little by little, and it will get better. But I really resonated with that for me, it was like brand new open wounds, starting over from a little baby steps, knowing now what I know. I even was walking around the house saying, I've always heard people say, oh, I can't even think what it is now. Ignorance is bliss. And I always thought that was the absolute stupidest saying in the whole world. And after going through what I went through, in my moments of despair, I would like walk around the house and I would say, this is so ridiculous. Ignorance is bliss. Because when you don't know exactly what's going on, then I wouldn't be in this predicament. But so I think everybody is like purging out old wounds. Exactly. Amazing Grace. Yeah, totally. So I don't want to like have this be like what I'm about to explain to you guys is really, really deep. And it can, like if you judge things on like negative or positive, this isn't like the most positive stuff I'm about to talk about. So I'm going to flip it around so it's not so rough. But this is what happened with me. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you'll kind of catch on as to the next step. So in the beginning, when I did my first, like, here's me, I'm a galactic human starseed, and this is my story, right? I kept telling my story from where I knew it up until that point, and I'm going to finally be able to finish it for you guys that have been kind of following me along. So let me start from the beginning. Obviously, when I was little, like, I was just different. I didn't fit in like all of us, right? That's like the story of all of us. I actually had a ship come and check up on me, like a real spaceship, when I was little. And it was always kind of home to me, and I never really understood why. And so I was always searching, because I'm adopted, so I should probably get that in there. So I was always searching for my home, all right? And there was a point where I was so alone. I was so alone that I was like, dude, I'm totally tagging out. I'm done. And so before I understood what was happening, I had this like out of body experience. And I thought I was talking with Jesus, right? I thought I was like having this great discussion with Jesus, and God was there and my grandparents were there. But now I really think it was probably just my guides and my teams and my ancestors were there. But they said, we can't stop you from tapping out. Like, that's your choice. That's the whole deal when you come down to earth. Like, you have free will. So if you want to go, you can go. But we strongly suggest that you do whatever you can to stay, because it's going to get better and we're going to help you. We're going to send you somebody to make you not feel so alone. And there's amazing things ahead of you, and you have a massive mission here. And so we really hope that you choose to do what we can to make it better. And at that time that all happened, I was completely freaked out because, when you have out-of-body experiences, people always talk about going to the light. Like, there's this tunnel, at the end of the tunnel is this light. Well, that happened for me. Like, when they took me out of my body, I saw my body in the bed, and there was this tunnel, and there was all these hands like reaching out for me, but I had angels on each side of me, right? Okay. So I was completely freaked out at the time, and I was like, whatever that was, whatever just happened, I don't want it to happen again. And that was the day that I shut off almost all of my abilities. And for good reason. I think it really helped. I think there's a time when you can turn them on and you can learn about them and you can progress and you can remember. But I think there's also a time where we just have to be human, and we just have to be in the 3D world, and we just have to focus on that. And that is not a wrong thing. I think a lot of light workers, a lot of teachers are now teaching that if you're in the 3D world only, like, that's a bad thing. Well, it's not necessarily a bad thing. So to continue with the story, I met this person. I was in high school. I met this person. He had just graduated. He was in college. And my world totally changed. Oh, that's where you're at now. So it'll get better. I promise it will get better. I think. Do you, so clear vibrations, do you like talk to your guides even if you can't hear them, or even if they're not sending you signals? Like, do you talk to them? Because if you don't, you should. Like, there's always people listening. So you need to tell them what you need, because this is part of the problem I think that a lot of us light workers have, or a lot of us here, maybe not even light workers, just a lot of us have, where we're here in the 3D and we forget that we have help, but we actually have to ask for it because they can't just interfere. So make sure you're being very specific and telling them what you need, and then looking for the signs. And like for staying grounded, when I lay in bed at night, until I fall asleep, I have my mantras that I say, but I also say that something like, my legs are the roots to the trees that are grounded in Gaia, or something like that. And so I can feel my legs like vibrating, and that helps ground me every night until I fall asleep. So, okay, so I met this guy, and it was amazing. Like, I felt like I was home, and I didn't understand it, but I was okay with it. We were really great friends. It was all awesome. And like, my boyfriends at the time would get upset because I would laugh more with this guy. We'll call him Raul. So I'd laugh more with Raul than I would with like my boyfriend. And so then my boyfriend would get upset, and I'd be like, okay, like, I'm gonna break up with you because Raul's in my life, and Raul's gonna stay in my life. So you're gonna go. So okay, I've been asking for help nonstop. I had a channeled reading, and my guide said that it's up to me to get through this. It's my life lesson to learn to trust. That's so true, though. That's so true. And like, my husband just told me today, he's like, well, that seems really silly. Like, they put you down here, but they won't help you. And I was like, that's not it at all. What they're trying to do is they're trying to make you see and stand in your power, that you have the power, you have the ability to do whatever it is you need to do, but you have to find it within yourself. Like, that's the sucky part about being down here, right? So we just have to, it's weird. We have to find little teeny tiny things and like keep at it. And it's so true. No one can do it for you. Like my guides are there, and I can feel them, and my clairaudience is open now. So I can hear one of them more so than the rest, but I can hear him. So like, he can tell me things, but he can't fix it for me. So, you know, that's the thing. Like, and like you're saying, you're struggling finding yourself, finding that in yourself. That's what we all struggle for. And so I hope that this story is going to give you a bit more oomph to keep going, and realizing that you can totally do it. You could totally do it. So, okay. So this guy named Raul, right? He and I were like inseparable. Now, he was older than me at the time. He was like 6 or 7 years older than me. And so it was a problem because he worked in the theater department in school, right? And he was going to be a teacher. And so it was a problem because we were so close, but we were like best friend close. And then everybody was saying, oh, you're going to marry him. And they would be like making fake wedding invitations and putting them in my backpack. And so it became a real problem when all of a sudden I realized, like, I think I have more feelings for this guy, but I'm not really sure why we're so connected. That word twin flame didn't really exist back then. And so thanks to him, and he wasn't always nice. Like, if you know anything about like twin flames, like, they can be kind of jerky, right? But he really, on the flip side of that, like, we had some amazing times, and then we had some not so great times. And he really pushed me to find myself. And so I did tons of reading, tons of just inner work, like just sitting under a tree and just thinking, you know, and being like, well, I know I have these memories in me somewhere of like who I am and what we are. And I just have to find those memories. And so it was a lot of introspection. And he wasn't really into talking about that. Like, if I would say, hey, we're obviously not just friends, because like we cuddle and we watch movies, and like we'll hold hands watching movies, and like we don't want to be separated. but like if I would bring up commitments, or like he would run away. And so I went to college, and I took him out of my life. And it was really sad, right? It was sad because that was your home. That was my home, my literal home. There was nothing else to me that was home. So I took him out of my life. I finished college. I met this guy who ran a theater, with like professional Broadway shows and stuff. So I used to work at the theater. And when I came back, my twin was also working at that same theater. And like the first time I walked in, and he was like, well, what are you doing here? And I was like, well, I'm back from college. I'm dating, I forgot what his title was, but I'm dating the guy who does like the lights and stuff like that. And he was like, well, he's like, I met this guy and we're dating. And I was like, oh, okay. And he said it in such a way that was just heartbreaking. Like you could tell I broke his heart, so he was going to break my heart, type of thing. But like, we don't talk about it because we don't talk about those things. So we stayed connected, and I wasn't going to get too tied up with him because he like ruins my life, right? Like I can't have any other boyfriends. I can't move on with my life when he's in there. So I wasn't going to get involved with him again, but I did. And I still married that guy that I was dating. I still married him. And when I went and told Raul that we were engaged, the look on his face was enough to I can still remember it. Just shot through me. And I knew that he was not pleased, and that I just broke his heart. Like you couldn't believe, like there was no reason for me to be getting married to this person when he was right there. And he handled things pretty well. I handled things pretty well because I was trying to separate. Turns out like a couple months to the wedding, a couple days to the wedding, he sends me this email and he's like, I wish I could be happy about the wedding, but I can't because it should be you and I getting married, and crazy, crazy things. So he asked me to stop the wedding, and I didn't. And I got married, but we had, at that time, then he wanted to become romantic. So like we had romantic relations even though I was married. My marriage, though, was absolutely horrible. Basically, my husband tried to contain me, like would tell me what I could do, what I couldn't do. And it didn't work. There was no love. My husband actually told me that work was number one, the farm was number two, the house was number three, and I was number four on his list. And at this whole time, like I'm thinking, this is such a big mistake. I should just ran away with my twin. Okay. But I didn't. But I finally just got up and left. Like I couldn't deal with it. And to make a long story short, the husband separated the twin and I. It was very, very painful, very dramatic, it just wasn't good. So we were trying to teach each other to hate each other. Like that's what twins do when they can't be together. They try to teach each other to hate each other. But it didn't really work very well. We were just both miserable. I moved away, and I met this guy who's now my husband. Wonderful, wonderful. And okay, so let's stop the twin story there, so I catch you guys all up. So this whole time, I'm trying to figure out like where I came from, because I was adopted. I had the ship, couldn't figure it out, and I knew I wasn't like a normal human. And I was questioning the whole twin thing as well. And I just found out probably 4 months ago, that this is really way out there. So like, just bear with me here. That the reason a ship was checking up on me was because that was the ship that I was born on. And it gets weirder than that. So the ship that I was born on is not like, it's a galactic ship, right? And I knew they were gonna wipe it from my mind, so I wrote it down. The ship's name is the Kalandi. And it's not like a galactic ship like we think, like Palladian and stuff. It's actually like a secret government galactic ship. And I found out that I was a test tube baby. So what this means is it means that they took DNA from a mother and they took DNA from a father, and that DNA sequence had to be specific to what they were looking for. So not only not only do they look for like human DNA, but they look for the galactic DNA as well. So they put those two together, and then after they put them together, I feel so ridiculous saying that. So after they put them together, they start doing experiments, and they insert actual other galactic DNA into the fertilized egg. And so I was actually on a ship, and like you see those movies, and the people are in those sacks, right? Okay, so this is how I was born. I was born on the ship, and it's a ship that belongs to the SSP program, and this is something that when I finally found out about this, put my whole life together, because my whole life has been absolutely positively crazy. Like I can't even attempt to explain the weird, bizarre things that have gone on in my life. Like for example, just one example, I was sitting in bed one night, and I had this notion of time being stopped. There was like a glitch in human time, right? And I knew that someone had stopped time and taken me and put me back. And so after I found this out about the SSP program, I found out that there's a lot of people in this program. There's a lot of star seeds in this program. I found out all my memories came back to how this program works. For me, it was a little different because I wasn't. So some of the people. So what they do with this SSP program is they wine and dine you. So like with people, with the way technology is wired, they pretty much. They like the government programs, but the government programs work with certain galactic programs as well. So I'm not saying like all ETs are bad, and I'm not saying like all government is bad. I'm saying there's like a section of government that works with ETs for a specific outcome. Okay, whether it's good or bad, like we could judge that later. But they have their eye on specific kids because they monitor, those DNA, the DNA things that they have, like $99, like learn your DNA, right? Those things are designed for figuring out specifics for you, not just human stuff, but like galactic stuff as well. And so they can pinpoint families. And this is how my mother, so my real mother, I found out information about her too. I found out where she lives. Thank you. So Amazing Grace says, you're a magnificent soul made manifest into the world of form. Thank you. So what happened is, in order to like finish cooking me, or like finish, they had to put me into a human mother for a while, just for the birth portion, to like finish everything off. And like the concepts of like how they could do this, we're not going to get into that because otherwise that'd be a really long story. But what I was told, what my mother remembers is she just remembers having a miscarriage. And so I think this answers a lot of questions that some women have when they have these miscarriages. Now, I had one as well, and I know for a fact that that child is still around. It was actually taken. And it's another story, and we're not going to get into that. But this is like some of the stuff that I've learned and I've had to deal with recently. So, so they took her into a ship, gave birth, and then put her back. So she assumes that she had a miscarriage, and that actually happened to me as well, right? So like for my family, my real family, it's a line of succession, and like I'm sure all of you have heard how like certain galactic groups like target certain DNA lines. Well, it's not just galactic groups. It's not just galactic groups. So anyway, I found out that I was out of my group. like be raised as an experiment and to be watched, and then to be followed throughout their lifetime, and then to be put into this super soldier program. So what a super soldier program is you've probably all seen like the Marvel comics, right? All this new Marvel, there's a reason that this stuff is coming out right now. The SSP, they have new laws they have to abide by, and so the human portion of it is kind of low right now, so they want to recruit more people for this, and so that's why they're getting everybody excited with these Marvel things. These are actual super soldier people that exist, these Marvel comics. It's not just something that was made up, but it exists in a different vibration. It exists in a different astral world. So there's blocks then that they put on you when you go back to the human world. So so this put my life together, right? This put my life together. But it gets more complicated than that. What they do is they pick the people that they want in this program for various reasons. They will wine and dine you, and they will tell you exactly what they want you to do. Sometimes they will, sometimes they'll just take you. It depends kind of your station, depends on your DNA sequences. But they ask you if you'll join them, and then you get like prizes, or for like every level you complete, you get, which is so silly because like if they're like, oh, like Tom Cruise comes and gives you a diamond necklace, like true story. It's like an astral diamond necklace. So like you think of it in the human brain form, like, oh wow, I get a diamond necklace, but like it's an astral, and they have celebrities like in the program to help assist you with like thinking. It's very complicated. So I found out I was in this program. I'm not in the program anymore, thank goodness. But what happened when all this information came back to me was that not only did I connect my life, but I also connected why things were so strange. And oh my gosh. And so it also my memories came back from these programs, where I did a stint on Mars as not just like soldier stuff, but I was actually like an anthropologist on Mars with some of the groups there. And I've done a lot of stuff, and so these memories came back, and they watch. So if these memories pop through, if you're strong enough to pop these memories through, they come back in and they attempt to wipe these memories out again. And so what happened was, as soon as I had all this information, I had all these memories come back, it was really debilitating, but at the same time, I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to get the word out there, and all these bizarre things started happening. One of which, they came in one night and they tried to suppress my memories, which led to vertigo. And I had to go to the hospital. And I had this really bizarre metallic taste in my mouth. And when I asked the nurse about it, she acted really, really strange. And I forgot exactly what she told me, but you could totally tell she was lying through her teeth with this whole metallic taste and the vertigo. And so basically, anytime I try to talk about this now, that's when I get blocked with like videos. If I mention any sort of specific names, that's why I haven't mentioned any names. The names will go away, or like I'll get vertigo, or something will happen. I'll get sick or something like that. So, so all these things took me to like the bottom. And then on top of it all, I was put like astrally, I was put into another egg. And so what these eggs, so ridiculous. So what these eggs do is like, it's a force field around you to make you think that you don't have any power, to make you think that you can't do anything. It actually kind of sets in depression, and you have to break through these eggs, but you have to realize you're in one first. And so that on top of it all was just absolutely ridiculous. And it took me from the lowest to the low. But on the flip side of that, because this is like really depressing, on the flip side of that, what did I learn? I learned that I am a super strong, super duper duper strong soul. I learned that the amount of power that I have to be able to help people, to be able to guide people, to be able to understand what people are going through is so amazing that when you realize you have all these experiences behind you, it really cements to you that you can keep going. Like if you've made it through this, you can make it through anything. You've climbed that mountain, you can make it through anything. It also helped me learn when I was being implanted. I did one short video about implants, but it turns out that I was full of implants for various reasons. So like I was in the SSP program and the secret space program, which are two different things, by the way, but I was in both. Um, if you're driving any sort of craft, you have to have an implant in to allow you to see ahead of time because you're going so fast. And that implant allows you to see ahead of time so you can like maneuver the craft. I had that implant. They would just keep implanting me. And I learned to be able to feel when implants went in, and I learned to be able to take them out. I learned that when I couldn't do something, I would just call on my team and my guides, and they would be there and they would help me with it. They couldn't necessarily do it for me, but they could tell me how to do it. So I really, through all of this, became connected with myself. And what's going on? I became connected through myself in ways I never thought I would. I learned about so many past experiences and why I've chosen this way of life. Because if you think about it, my soul would not have had to choose that. I could have chosen to be in like a normal mother, normal family situation, but I didn't. I chose to be in a really difficult situation that there was only 2 survivors of my whole clan. It was me and some other person. That was it. No one else survived. And the reason they didn't survive is because there's the way that our bodies are put together, or our like DNA is structured, is that we were able to understand multidimensionality on a way in which a lot of humans can't. And so I became aware of other dimensions and what was going on in these other dimensions. And so I was getting updated on things, and it became really hard to ground myself. It became really hard to be in the now. And so I learned that it's okay to turn that off. Just because I can do it and you can all do it too, you just have to tap into it. Doesn't mean that you have to do it. Like, it just makes more sense for me now to focus in my 3D and know that I have that ability. So if I need to check in with something on a different dimension, I can. If I need to know what I am doing on a different timeline, I can do that. But it's not necessary right now. And I don't feel bad about turning it off or ignoring it or whatever. It doesn't make me less of a person to be able to focus, to know that I just want to focus right here. It actually makes me a more empowered person, a more grounded person. I don't need to have all these things going on. You know, right now, I'm here, I'm in this now because my body is here. This portion of my soul is here. So this is what I'm going to focus on. And so with the Vertigo, they did a pretty good job at containing a lot of the SSP memories, but I still have memories slip through. So they're like, when you talk about like soul pieces coming back, every time I have a memory slip through, I have to work through it because it's, they're not pleasant. And I'm not going to go into like everything the program does because there's different things happening in the program, but they're not pleasant. We were able to be hired out to go fight other galactic wars. We each have our own superpowers, which sounds ridiculous. Like, superpowers is not the right word to use, but like in the Marvel world, it is, I guess. But everything is blocked. Everything is different in your 3D human world. So, and that's okay. You know, we don't necessarily need those to come through. I do have a friend though who's working on trying to take that block off, so like he can have all his powers, which good for him if that's what he wants to do. But the other thing is, I really learned to trust my team and my guides through this whole thing, because that's what they did. They guided me through this whole thing. They gave me the want to continue to fight, to continue to properly heal old wounds, to continue to not to not to not like hate, absolutely hate like the conditions that I was in, or like how things happened. And then I'm going to get back to the twin here. So I found out that a lot of twins may actually not be twins. They're twins, but they're twins in a different way. So what happened was we were twins. We how do I explain this? So we were like born. We were born sort of at the same time soul wise, okay, and we have a little pieces of each other's soul. So like we're twins as the humans understand them. But what happened with the SSP is they love bit us, and that's a whole other story. But basically what that means is that they paired us together, which seems very twin flamish. So a lot of people saying, oh, me and my twin flame, we're so connected. This can be another scenario as to why they're connected, depending on if they've been in any of the programs. But what they do to pair you together is they pick you based on DNA. So if you have very close DNA matches, if you're twins, if you're actual twins already, you have a greater chance of surviving together. If you're not twins, it doesn't matter. They can put you together anyway, and they can mix up your DNA together. So what they do is they actually take bits and pieces out of you and put it in him, and out of him and put it in me. Then they pair you together and they traumatize you together. So like what we had done is we had waterboarding done and drowning done. So they drowned you within an inch of your life, and then they revive you, and you only have each other to be together and to hang on to. And so it forms this really, really strong bond. We're telepathic. I mean, we're telepathic in the 3D world as well. So we could go on missions and not have paper trails, because we could just telepathic, share everything via the mind, via telepathy. So here's the problem. In the 3D world, it doesn't work so well, because if you get together in the 3D world, you have a chance of unlocking those memories. And if you unlock those memories of this secret program, then it's a breach for them, and they don't want you to remember these things. And so basically it pretty much means that like you're going to be not fighting your whole life, but you're going to be paired off your whole life. They actually give you a chip. They actually give you a chip to make sure you guys don't get together, even though you have this amazing bond. And so through this all, I learned how much light I have, and that, I can be blocked, but I can get through it. I learned that I, on a multidimensional level, am very powerful. I learned that I am an amazing being. I have a greater appreciation now for life. I have a greater appreciation now for everyone's struggles, because we all know that we're struggling, and my struggle is no greater than your struggle. But the fact that we can get through it together, and we can lean on each other and help each other through it just by talking about it, I think means a lot. And so, I think that's really what I wanted to share with you guys. So if you guys have any questions or want to tell me about your journeys, that would be super awesome. I don't think anybody's watching right now. Nope, nope. There is somebody here. Maybe for a second, but anyway, that's what I wanted to update you guys on. And I really wanted to hear some of what you guys have been going through, because I'm on the upper swing of things now. And so, I know that we're all dealing with stuff and we all need to hang in there, and it's hard. So let me know what you guys are dealing with. We can talk about it. Maybe not. So I mean, like, if you guys don't have anything you want to talk about, I guess that's it then. Like, I've been kind of rambling on, and I don't know if we're gonna actually keep this video. I don't know if we're gonna actually keep this video up, but we might. I'm not sure. So if you guys don't have anything else you want to talk about, I think that we will do a blessing, and then we'll close off. Nashataya soku uno shubishiata. Naya ka uala natio shoso. Naya ka shiato no boyashota. Kikiama ulu po ushisianata. Akiata ni tiaku shonotiatana. Hala bojati tsakni ku uno boshoti. Namiata siana. Naliaku isi kiatiatana. Namaste. So I think the one thing I want to do before we head out. Hey, Bree, you made it. You're here. Yay. My nose is running. So the last thing we wanted to do before we head out then is I want to give you guys a light language blessing, give you guys like a download for those of you who are struggling to shed light on the situation so you guys overcome it, to give you guys the ability to see how powerful you are and how magnificent you are, and that you are here for a reason. You're here for your mission. And a lot of us wonder what that mission is, but it's as simple as sharing. It's as simple as being there for one another. It's as simple as showing love. It's as simple as being ourselves and embracing who we truly are. Just simple things like that, do something for someone. That's part of your mission. And so, yeah, you did. But like for a while, I felt like I was rambling, and then I looked down, clear vibrations. I was like, oh, I think I'm the only one here. But I mean, I think whoever watches it will get what they need from it. So it's not. So it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, Bree, it really hasn't been easy. I totally agree. I totally agree. And so, let's see. Oh, the other thing I learned, you guys, was that not everybody from my past lives that are in this life now is actually for my benefit. Like sometimes you have past experiences with people in past lives, and even if you meet them in this now, it doesn't mean that like you're supposed to be best friends. It doesn't mean they have your best interest at heart. It means that you guys had an experience in the past, and they may have a different mission than you have, and that it doesn't necessarily mean you guys are going to be buddy-buddy, and that's okay. So you may share these amazing memories from past experiences, but it doesn't mean that you guys are going to be besties. And I learned that that's okay, and I learned that it's something I would never have thought about. In the beginning, I was like, if there's a person from a past experience or a past life of mine in this life, like that's pretty amazing, and we should connect, and we'll have a lot of stuff in common. But that's not necessarily the case, right? So I also learned so much about like past experiences. I can't even begin to tell you. I'm gonna do a video soon about Egypt and like Ramses stuff and like all that stuff that I learned. I also want to do a video about how my guides taught me how your past life and your present life and how fractals work, and why people can't remember all the past lives. So I have a lot of that type of information to share to help you guys like better understand you, because like I think clear vibrations, I think you said how like you're kind of struggling to just trust yourself and to like know yourself. I mean, that's part of the scenes. Like they were all about know thyself. And I think it's important. I personally think it's important to be able to learn to recognize the past pieces of you that come up in this life. And because that helps you be able to navigate your present experiences better. And you know who told me that? This is who told me it. Okay, so like this guy right here, this is who told me it. His name is Ju Long. And when I got him, there was two that I could pick from, and one of them said, the lady was like, well, this one, not mine, it was a different one, is the dragon skull. And I was thinking, oh, like I have actually a big piece of me that kind of belongs to the Dragon Collective. I should get the dragon skull. But I already had this guy picked out, and I heard my team say, if this is the one that you're drawn to, this is the one you stick with. And so the next day I'm working and I get a text message from this woman, and she's like, I want to let you know, I'm really sorry, I screwed up. The one that you actually had, he's the dragon skull. So it all worked out perfectly. And he's the coolest guy in the entire world. Like his mission here is talking about how important it is to like integrate past lives, past experiences to help you better navigate this experience. And I was like, holy crap, like that's what I'm all about. That's what I'm all about. So it's such a perfect match. And actually, when I was dealing with like breaking out of this egg thing that I was talking about, he was there, and I saw him in my mind's eye help me through this and like walk me through it. And so it's just been really amazing. He has so much knowledge to share, and I'm really enjoying hanging out with him. But yeah, so I don't know. What do you guys want to talk about? Like, me, I can talk about past life stuff. I could just talk about past life stuff forever. But I don't know, like the stream has already been 53 minutes, but we can keep talking. So so I learned, okay, so like here's some of the cool stuff I learned. So you know how like when you go to psychic people, right? And they say, well, actually, let's back up. So like when you run into random people and you're like, oh, I enjoy past lives too. And they're like, oh my God, like I love past lives too. Like I had this psychic tell me that I was whatever, like Marie Antoinette in a past life, right? So I learned something about this, and I find this super fascinating. Okay, so there's two stories to this, two sides to this, and so like either that soul could have experienced that life as Marie Antoinette, or you have Marie Antoinette giving her a piece or a fractal of her soul. Now, Marie Antoinette, I have no idea why I said her, but most souls have either 3 fractals that they can give out, or they can have up to 7. So archangels have up to 7 fractals that they can give out. And so Akhenaten is a really good one. There are 4 Akhenaten fractals that I know of on planet Earth right now. And that means that there's only 3 more that can show up. What do you mean give out? Oh, okay. So that's so there's only like Akhenaten can only give out 7 pieces of himself, right? So that's what I mean by give out. Like here on Earth, we have 4 people that I know of via YouTube and via personal connections and stuff that have fractals of Akhenaten. Well, that means that right now, those 4 people have pieces of Akhenaten within them. That does not mean that they are Akhenaten. It means they have pieces. Akhenaten gave out, made contracts with these beings for pieces of him. So if we currently have, what did I say, like 3 or 4? So if we currently have 4 people on Earth with fractals of Akhenaten, that means that we can only, there are only 3 more would show up, because each person, like Akhenaten, because he's not really a human, that's another story, he would have 7 pieces of him to give out. And so a lot of beings, a lot of important beings of the past have given fractals, pieces of themselves out. But that doesn't mean the person is that doesn't mean the person is Akhenaten. It just means that they have a piece of Akhenaten's soul from that time period. Does this given happen before incarnation? Yes, so it does. So contracts are made before incarnating, and the more fractals you have within you, no, this is great, Bree. So the more fractals you have within you, the bigger your mission is. Which is ridiculous, because like I don't want people measuring themselves up. Oh, I have like 4 fractals. Like the most fractals that I've come across in a person, like legitly, without having random people saying, "Oh, I have so many," in, is like 2 or 3. So it's not like you're gonna have like 20 fractals of a person in. You're gonna have like 2 or 3, and some people just have 1, and some people don't have any at all. So I know for a fact that you can have big missions, okay? You can have big missions, and you cannot have fractals in either. So if you are a soul that feels that you are fully capable of carrying out this mission on Earth, that you don't need any help, because the fractals are there to help you. They're there to give you an extra boost. So if when you make your contract, you're like, "No, guys, I totally got this," you don't have a fractal in you, but you still have a big mission here on Earth. And I know for a fact that, hopefully they'll let me remember her name, Anastasia, Princess Anastasia. She did not have any fractals. She did not have any fractals. She was her own soul here. So like, if there was an Anastasia here on Earth, there would only be one incarnated Anastasia, where you have like so many people saying, "Oh, like I'm Anastasia." There would only be one, because she here we go. Okay, so because she didn't have any fractals, and then the question becomes, did she give out 7 fractals to people here on Earth? Does that make sense? So even though she was a single soul with no fractals who had that experience, now that that experience is done, she can still give out 7 pieces of her to people on Earth. Does that make sense? I know that probably got kind of confusing. But then you have other people who have bigger missions, maybe not bigger missions, that, like, I know for a fact that her mother had 2 fractals within her. So it was 2 fractals plus the mother. Wait, what? I don't know. Tell me, what, did I lose you? I probably lost you. Okay, so let me repeat. Let me repeat this so it's clear. So like you, Bree, walking around right now, could have your soul plus like 2 other bits of other people's souls that are like contracted in to help you. Okay. So when Anastasia was here, I know for a fact that she did not have any fractals within her in that now as Anastasia. Okay. But now that she's gone, she can give up to 7 pieces of her to people on Earth currently right now. So you could have up to 7 that are like, "Oh, I'm Anastasia." Does that make sense? Yes. Yes, exactly. So like these are the things that I learned. These are the things that I enjoy learning about. So like, okay, so let me give you another. Yes, me too. Me too. So let me give you another example. Okay. So you asked the question, Bree. You said, are these fractals done ahead of time before incarnation, or like before incarnation? And I said yes. Okay. So here's another example of something that can totally happen. So, okay. So I know for a fact that Ramses II at one time in our now, okay, not his now, but like our now, had 3 fractals contracted in to 3 different people. But I know for a fact within the last month or so, 2 months maybe, he pulled those fractals out of 2 people, and now he only has fractals in one person. A fractal in one person. So you can pull them out. Like it's a contracted thing, but like you can pull them out too. It's not like just because you have one in, it will stay in through the whole incarnation. Does that make sense, Brie? So like the reason he pulled them out, okay, so the reason he pulled them out is because this is the stuff that I use. This is the information that I use to like get my mind off the SSP stuff so I can like focus on other things and like get back on the train. Okay, so the reason they would pull their fractals is because the contractee and the contractor agreed to it, but also because the person who put the fractals in, I know, real life implications, I know. So one of the reasons that they may pull a fractal is because let's just say Ramses, who put his fractals into 3 people in the beginning, right? He pulled 2 of them out. And one of the reasons he did that was because his current soul mission, like he's not fully incarnated here on Earth at this time, although he has a fractal. The stuff that he was trying to get accomplished wasn't getting accomplished as a soul. So he made other plans. He told so Ramses II is one of my guides, so this is how I know this stuff. So he told me once that like if the fractal that he has in the person he has in right now, if things don't move along, like if he doesn't get stuff accomplished, he will look for other methods of getting it accomplished. And so that's how like you can pull out fractals. Would it be a profound energetic difference for a fractal to leave? I don't know. I don't know. I know that I have 2 fractals in me at the moment. I don't know how long they've been there, like when they popped in, or if it was a contracted thing for me personally. But I don't know what it would be like to leave because I never asked that. But I suppose like okay, so this is a really funny story. Seeing there's only like 3 people watching, I can tell the story. So I was having this conversation with Catherine the Great one day, and we were talking about fractals. And she said, well, you have a fractal of Mozart in you. And I was like, what? Like, I don't even like Mozart. And she goes, well, he likes you. And she said, you guys were obviously friends, you know, are friends. And then I was just going to say, she read my mind, because I was going to say, well, how come I'm not better at piano? And then she goes, before I could verbally speak what I was thinking, she goes, well, he's not here to help you with the piano. And I was like, okay. But he's here. So he's here to help me with my thought processes for my equations, and having those automatic downloads. So like when I'm working in the lab, I'm not like thinking, oh, I have this step to do, this step to do. Like I just do it. Like when he wrote music, he just wrote it, and it was very rarely was it wrong. Like it was usually pretty correct from the first get-go. So that's one of the reasons he's helping me just get my stuff done quicker and more efficiently. And also like I have a good sense of humor to begin with, but like apparently his humor was pretty fun. And so he also has a little bit of humor. So like if he would leave, I would assume that I would have a harder time with like my equations and with my how do I say it, with my like recipe downloads when they give me the recipe, where I would have to work it out versus just doing it right away and having it be perfect. So I assume that would probably change, but I don't know because that's never happened. So I hope it doesn't happen. And then I would think that some of that, see, this is, I'm assuming, I'm thinking, I'm hypothesizing that after you share your life with those two fractals, with fractals, certain bits and pieces of them become embedded in you as a soul. So like I would keep some of that like amazing humor for me, you know? So the spirit of the soul of an incarnation can decide with free will in illusion of linear time, tied to the time perception of a person with a fractal of their soul to pull the fractal out. Yes. Yes, it's a contracted thing. So it's not like Ramses can just be like, oh, I'm going to pull my fractal out. No. Like you both have to agree to that. Because I asked Ramses, one time because one of his fractals is in the twin. So this is how this all comes together. One of his fractals is in the twin. And I asked him once, just like you can call in your fractals. I think you probably could. If you know who your fractals were, I think you can say, hey, Mozart, hey buddy, like I really need some help with this equation. I really need some help. Like we're gonna concoct like a perfume recipe, and let's just do it. Like I'll write it down as we go, but we're not gonna practice. We're just gonna do it. And I suppose he'd be like, all right, let's go. Okay, because if that person also through free will is not completing the soul mission, which was the purpose of sharing the fact. Okay, but here's the thing, Bree. Here's the thing, though. That fractal would not be removed if that person needed to complete the soul mission. Because you have to remember that you guys with your soul missions, it's not like you have like one soul mission, right? And like that's it. Like your soul missions are constant. If you complete one, you have another. So it's very possible that whatever was needed to be complete had been completed. So that's why he was able to pull it. Right? Does that make sense? Because otherwise, if that soul mission that he needed him was not complete, it wouldn't have been pulled. Because why stick around? Like if you're not needed, it'd be like waiting as a passenger on a train. I'm not sure why they just said that, but waiting as a passenger on the train that never has a stop. So you can never continue doing what you need to do. You'd always be riding that train, and it's just kind of defeats the purpose. Right? So yeah, so I think that's it. And like he with this whole SSP stuff, he really needed to, I think, I'm still learning about this. I think he really needed to focus his intentions on like whatever mission it is with the twin at the moment, because here's the thing with the twin. And I kind of sort of got into this, but not really. The twin is really messed up. And like some people can make it through those programs and be normal. Like I consider myself a pretty normal, rational person, right? Like I talk crazy things, but it's all being rationalized, and I understand it from a human perspective, where like some people can just go off the deep end. Like I get that. And so he has so many blocks on him and in him that he has no memory of anything B, he's like a zombie, right? He does his thing. He goes to work. He comes home. If there's a memory that sparks either of him and I or of like SSP or like figuring it all out, right away that memory is shut down, and that's all programming. That's all programming that they did to him. So they pretty much control him, where like I wouldn't allow myself to be controlled, if that makes sense. And so Ramses, getting back to that fractal, gets frustrated with him because if the twin would wake up, if the twin would want to accept that this stuff has happened and understand it, he could be so powerful. He could accomplish so many amazing things with his life, and especially having one fractal of Ramses within him to like help him do that. Like, it frustrates me. It frustrates me too. But like Ramses said, he said sometimes like we put fractals within people to help them with their missions. But when they get down here, they have free will, so they can choose whether or not to accept the mission and to stay on it, which is hard. Like this is not a cakewalk, right? So we understand when people disregard everything and push it to the side and just want to be sheeple and just want to be those robots. And they have that free will. And Ramses told me one time, he said, the only thing you can do at that point is you can send love and send compassion their way, and that's it. They have free will, so they can do what they want. And he said it's a sad thing to watch, but it happens. And that's, I guess, if the mission is failed, I suppose you could probably remove a fractal at that point too. Cake where? I like cake. Cake is good. Yeah, maybe if it was a piece of chocolate cake, that would be really yummy. So there's just so many things I'm learning about. Cake has layers. That's very good. Just like the human, this is good. Just like the human has layers with the soul and the psyche and the third eye and like all the different layers. If they awaken those layers, then they can see more multidimensionally, and then the cake becomes more exciting and more yummy than having like boring old cake, right? And you know what? Onions have layers as well. But if you put an onion in a room, cut in half, the onion will absorb the viruses and all the gunk, and so you won't get sick. It's an old wives thing, but it works. So, so yeah, and then they were explaining to me one day of how the soul works, how the oversoul works. So, if you guys want to hear it, I'll explain it to you because I'm having fun. And I'll try and explain it. I'll try and explain it in a way that makes sense because it's very complicated. Let me get some rocks. Okay. Okay, so this is a really poor example. All right, so check this out. Okay, so we have like 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 crystals, right? Now, if you can extrapolate that by like millions and millions and millions, think of it like a cluster of grapes, one ginormous cluster of grapes, okay? This is your oversoul, okay? This big, ginormous cluster of grapes. Every single grape is a life experience you had, okay? Is a past life you've had. Whether it's on this planet, whether it's on a different planet, whether it's whatever, a bee, whatever. Each individual grape is an experience you had. Okay, so and imagine the grape cluster as like completely massive. Like that is you at your highest. That is your oversoul. So all of these wonderful experiences of grapes come together to form this beautiful, like hanging grape bunch, okay? And what happens then is that you become a baby grape. So like me here on Earth, I'm a baby grape, and this is my experience. So after I finish, that baby grape will come back to the bunch, and I will have another crystal and another grape piece to add to my big bunch. Does that make sense? We are very tasty, yes. And we're seedless too, because I don't like seeds. But purple, I like purple grapes. So, okay, so we are this massive grape bunch. Now, my experience here is this grape, individual grape, right? My experience, my one now experience in Egypt was this grape, okay? So now this is what we're dealing with right here. I'm gonna put in this hand, and I'm going to need specific grapes, individual grapes from my past experiences to help me with this experience. And because I've been on Earth before, it makes it a little bit easier. Even if I wasn't in human form or whatever, it makes it easier because I was on Earth before. So what happens then is out of all your massive bunches that you have, you're going to pick, you and your team, and your, like, there's like a whole plethora of like people behind desks that like help you do this. Okay. So like you guys go through and you're like, oh, I think this past life in Egypt with Ramses seems like a really good thing. You should have this connected to your little grape in this now, because you will be able to access this if you remember how. And it will help you navigate this now better. But wait, that's not the only one we're going to put with you. We're going to put this grape right here. This one is your Appalachian Mountain healing herbal whatever. This is an amazing life. And you know what? You're going to need to pull these experiences in this life. You just have to remember how. But this life right here, this one in like ancient Greece as like this warrior person, like you don't need that one. Like you're not going to need it. So it's just going to be over here in the bunch. When you get back, when this all connects, then you can say hi to that life. But we're going to like leave that life out. So you come in with specifically picked lives to pull from. Except once you get here, most of us are pretty wiped. So we have to learn to recognize these little bits and how to access them to help us with this now. And so you have this amazing bunch of grapes. And when you pass from this 3D world, you will return and you will be able to add this brand new guy to your bunch of grapes, and all your other experiences will return. So it's like a library system almost. Like that's why, maybe that's why people call it the Akashic Records. You're borrowing from your experiences. Now, is everybody with me so far? This is so cool. This is so much fun. I mean, I love this stuff. Okay, so now here you are in this life, right? You've done a really great job like pulling from this life, even though there's certain things you don't understand yet. And apparently Ramses says it's not really time. You don't need to know that information. So then you get a little crabby, but it's cool though, because you can pull some information. This life right here, you use a lot and you pull a lot from it. But you know what would really help is Mozart, right? A piece of Mozart would really help you. So Mozart's like, yes, let's write this contract out, and I'm going to give you just this little chunk of my head, and we're going to like put it in here with you, but just the chunk of the head. But I have 7 chunks of that life, that one specific life, in order to give you. So now you can add just the head of this, and someone else can have the rest. Does that make sense? So that's how fractals work with your oversoul. So that means, because I have, like, this is probably the bad example, but that's the only thing I have. So because I have like the head of Mozart, I mean, I could have a leg. I really don't know what body part I got, but So because I had like the head of Mozart, then he can help me in this life pull from these recipes in this Appalachian life. And we don't really have to test anything because it's all right there. He's helping me be able to download this really fast and just do it and remember it versus having to like work through it, because that's what he does. So once I pass, right, all my little grapes are going to go back to me, to the big bunch, and his little head is going to go back to his bunch of grapes. And so that contract is complete. So so that is how fractals work. So, okay, so here's the thing now. The question becomes, as long as we're like in this, because we're deeply in it, the question becomes, you, right now, this is me, in this now, in this grape, in this soul, am I able to split this up into 7 fractals to help other people? Yes, I can. Not everybody can do this. There's certain beings, I guess, that I was told, that can do it in this now. Some can't. Some just have to have all this grape to themselves. But others are able to separate the grape. Some can only give 3 separations, and some can give up to 7 for other people. So when you think about it that way, it's kind of mind-blowing. It's kind of crazy. And it puts in perspective how massively large this whole thing is, like how complicated you are in this body, right? And like all the stuff that you guys can access, which I think is just absolutely fascinating. So did that make sense, or did I just like totally blow it with confusing you guys with that last portion? 70% at 8:07. It's 10:08 here. So that's why I think it's important, regardless of, oh, somebody came and turned the lights on apparently. Regardless of who you were in a past experience or what you did in a past experience or whatever. That's why I think it's important to be able to watch for the clues, watch for the flags that tie you in to that past life. Because I mean, there may be crappy things that happen. Like I carried a past life. We talked about this once in a Wendy thing. I carried a past life that was like me starving in like this, I don't know, like a Renaissance-y, like that's a really lame term, town, but I healed that. So like some of the things we carry with us aren't always great, but the reason that we brought them, the reason we added them to our current now cluster is because it was time to heal them. So I went in after I realized that I was being ridiculous in the fresh vegetable section in the grocery store, and I was just getting, all the time I would get like more than we could possibly eat, and it was just going bad, and I had to figure out why. Well, it's because I starved. So I went back, I jumped timelines into that life, and I was able to like hug her and bring that piece back. And so now her experience is fully in here, and I promised her that she would never ever go hungry again. And so that's one of those past experiences then that is completely healed, and I won't ever have to deal with it ever again in any other lives. So I suppose it's not always exciting and like, you know, but yeah, so that's that. What else? Anything else? That's cool. I'm glad I was able to explain that to you guys, because I just find that information so fascinating, and like I don't think a lot of people quite understand how the whole past life thing works. And another really cool thing. Okay, so I asked my guide, because I said to him, I said, like, don't you guys ever wonder when they come and visit, like, what do they see? Have you guys ever wondered this? Like, when your team comes and visits you, when your ancestors come visit you, when your grandma and grandpa come visit you, like, in your now, what do they see? Because chances are you guys can feel them. Like, I can feel them. I know the different energies of my teams and my guides, so I know who's here, when they're here. And like the last time I said, like, I totally feel you around a lot. Are you here a lot? And he's like, yeah, I am. I am here a lot. And I said, well, what do you see? Like, what do you see? And I was talking through a channeler at this point. And he said, well, it's nothing like now. Like, now I can see you face to face, and that's amazing, and that's why I love our conversations and stuff like this. Versus, he said, it's so much harder having to send thoughts to you and then have to go through like all my bubbles and your bubbles and having to send the thoughts correctly so you can translate them correctly. Like, it's not that easy, because you have to remember it goes through all these different filters, right? And then to come out like my writing or my brain like telling me, hey Val. So my team, so my one guide said, well, I can see energy. Like, I can see the auras, I can see the energy, and I can see heat signatures. And I was like, whoa. How did he say? He didn't say heat signatures, but he said whatever the fancy name is for heat. Like, if you had a heat gun, like like the ghost people do, they have those guns and they can show you like the temperatures of things. That's what he sees. So I was like, wow, that's really cool. So if you can see heat signatures and energy signatures, I mean, you can pretty much tell, I would assume, because the heat signatures would, okay, so let's say this guy is a cat, right? You would see the heat signature of the outline of the cat. So you could kind of tell that it was a cat that you were looking at. Do you know what I'm saying? Or like the different heat signatures of the body, you could tell that. So I find that really fascinating, that when your peeps come in and check on you, they maybe can't see you like we see each other, but they can get a pretty decent look at you, you know? I don't know. So I just thought that was really cool. Hey Val, welcome. Welcome. If you have any questions or anything, we're just kind of chatting, and I'm giving like really random cool information that I think is cool that I've learned from like my team or my guides. I just really wanted to hang out with you guys, because here's the thing. So we're each going through our difficult spirals, right? And for every one of us, it's different, but it's all the same in the collective of light workers and starseeds, because we're all going through trials and tribulations, and we're all trying to see the light within ourselves to rise above it. And we may not understand each other's problems, but the fact that we can understand that we're each going through something that is hard, and how we deal with it when it's hard, and so you're probably dealing with it when it's hard, regardless of what it is, that's a bond. That, I mean, that can bond us together as a collective of love. And to check in, so like Wendy and I were talking on one of the webinars. We haven't gotten together lately. We've both been really busy, but she, like, I had this ping to check in on her, and I didn't, because of course I was like, well, if she wants to check in, she'll check in. I know she's busy, but like, I should have checked in, because she was having a really tough day. And so I think, are you coming up? I think that we, as light workers and as starseeds, we really need to form that family, and just, if we get a ping for each other to check in, we should just check in and let each other know that we love you guys. You know, we're sending good thoughts for you guys, and just help each other the best we can, because that's the only way. As far as like, you know, I call us ground crew. Like, ground crew has to stick together. Otherwise, if we would separate and go our different ways, it's never going to work out. If you think about it in like an army, I mean, that's kind of what we are, right? So I think it's very important. And then Val says, it's been a long time. How's your vertigo? So, okay. So before I get on two different tangents, let me talk about a bit about the vertigo. So the vertigo is better. However, if I look up, I still get it. If I look down, I still get it. Riding on elevators, I still get it. So I've never had vertigo in my life, ever, until this instance where I like opened my mouth publicly and said too much. I had this is gonna sound crazy for some of you. I had a galactic scan done because I do frequently. And there was actually, like I told them about, I mean, well, they kind of knew about this, but I told them about the vertigo, and there's actually something embedded in the brain there. And so they're going to look at it and they're going to see what they can do, because they said that it's a very difficult area to like work around. So I don't know if I was chipped in that area to like suppress the memories or what, but it kind of comes and goes, and it's something I've never had to deal with until now. Oh God, you get it when you lay down. That's horrible. That one day when I had to go to the hospital, I had it when I was laying down, and it was just, I just felt so ill. Like I couldn't even lay down. So like, if you get it all the time when you lay down, I feel so bad for you. That's ugh. So yeah. What was I saying? I was saying something about sticking together. I was saying something about sticking together. And telling your stories. That's what I was saying. So I went through this phase where one of my guides and I were having a question answer session. So what I do sometimes, if I feel they're there and I can hear them talking to me, I will write down a question and then write down their answer and write down so that's a way that we can talk, and I can kind of keep track of it. I can go back to it because I find the stuff that they say is really, really important, and it's so valid, not just in that now moment, but if you look through, like if you're having problems or whatever, you look through and you're like, oh, that just kind of shed new light on the situation. And so we were talking, and I said, my guide was talking about how important it is to tell your stories. And I said to him that I don't want to tell my stories because when I look at the world and all those suffering in it and going through their own stuff, it's not like my stories are important. They're just not important. Everybody is going through their own crap, right? And I said, so I don't see the point. And he said to me, you may not see the point now, but getting me to tell my story will make other people confident to tell their story. And it will help other people realize that if I can get through things, they can get through things. It gives people hope. And so then when other people start telling their stories, it will give more people hope. And so eventually we'll be a collective of these really crazy stories that, 20 years ago could probably only think what happened in sci-fi stuff. But that together, it will make us a tighter knit group. It will help us come together, band together, and it will give everybody reason to keep fighting the good fight, right? To keep going when you feel so lost. And I said, but it just like, I don't see the point of it. And he said to me, you just need to pick and tell what stories you want to tell from your experience. Not only is it going to help people in this now, but after you're gone, platforms, like YouTube and stuff will still be going in some form. And then when you tell your past life stories, people will be able to connect to see how the human soul actually works. And they'll be able to connect the one soul to the various past lives, and they'll have a better understanding of the human body and the soul and history and stuff. So he kept reiterating how important it was to tell my versions of history and how I remember them, and the stuff that I'm going through, even though like talking about like an egg, like cracking the void of the egg that they put me in, and like all this SSP stuff seems ridiculous in this now, it will actually make sense in the future, and that it can give people hope. So I encourage you guys to tell your stories too, and to it'll help be the rock. It'll help be somebody else's rock. Even though if you can't physically be the rock, you will be there spiritually and energetically for them. And like the thing with the channel, that's the thing with the channel. Like I don't advertise the channel. I don't, even like this live thing, I don't advertise it. The people who are here now are the people that are meant to be here now. The people that will watch it are the people that are meant to watch it. It's not about, it's not about like, oh my God, like my experience is like the shit. And you guys, it's not about that at all. It's about coming together as a group and helping each other through our tough exchanges and experiences. So I'm just thankful that you guys like came to listen to me ramble on about things, because I needed to just be able to talk, right? I mean, I needed to be able to talk. So the thing with the like being on the ship and the test tube baby and stuff like that is that I've been getting I have an overload of galactic DNA, right? And I've been getting like DNA infusions. I've been getting human DNA infusions for a really long time. And like, that's something that nobody's talking about. If anything, people want like galactic infusions, but no, I'm over here like getting human DNA infusions to keep myself from my skin from like turning blue, to keep my skin from like turning blue, and my like Palladian spots to like come on. And that's stuff that like needs to be talked about, right? Because no one else is going to talk about it. And it seems weird, like why would I even mention it? Because it makes me sound like a crazy person. But in my reality, like this is me, and I need to step into that, and I need to embrace it. So yes, right, because Brie, let me tell you. So about a year and a half ago, I was my facial shape has actually changed. If you look at my older videos, like you'll kind of see a difference. So my face was really, like my cheeks were really sunken in. It's kind of hard to explain. My ears were kind of really pointy. I had a really bizarre like bone structure coming through here. Just things were strange. I had these dots. I had like 2 or 3 pairs of dots that were coming down, and my skin was like this blue-green color. And I was losing the ability to like function in a normal human world. I mean, that sounds like over extreme, but like I was losing the ability to process thoughts. Like I wanted to do everything telepathically. I wanted to just speak the galactic languages. I lost I lost a lot of my human connections, right? And so I had a meeting about this, and like they took my DNA stuff, and they're like, yeah, they're like we've been kind of monitoring you, and we noticed that this was happening. We didn't actually realize it's up to the human body. If the human body wants to accept like to do the more human DNA or accept the galactic DNA and how much whatever. It's like not really in their control. And so my galactic DNA was overriding my human DNA. And so, but like now I'm so much better. Like they're like, well, we need to fill your face out a little bit. We need to get rid of your spots. We need to get rid of your ridges. And so As crazy as it sounds, like I feel so much better than I felt like years ago. So yeah, so it's a good thing. It's a good thing. So I don't know what else you guys want to talk about. I suppose what I was going to do before I left, like an hour ago, I was going to. This is Kira, by the way, everybody. I was going to give you guys like a galactic download or like a galactic package for anybody dealing with, you know, stress or just hard times or dealing with the mountain that they have to climb. And what are you doing? Can you sit down? Can you sit down, please? And so I wanted to give you guys a little bit of peace and a little bit of comfort, and to have you guys really show you the signs to help get you to that next level where you have to be. And I wanted to give you a download for that. So I think we should do that. So you're silly. And then we can probably sign off. Like, I would totally talk to you guys all night long. But I don't know, unless you guys have any other topics you wanna talk about, I'm more than happy to talk about them. No? No more questions or anything? Okay, so if there's no more questions, then I think I will do the blessing download light language package for you guys. So my intention is to shed some light on your path, to have your guides and your teams step in and help you to be able to understand the guidance that they're giving, to be able to get you to that next level in that spiral, to be able to give you the hope and give you the peace and give you the confidence to be able to see your own light within you, to be able to recognize that you're not just human, you're so much more than human. And that we're here and we have to live in a human world, but that we're actually capable of quite a bit more. And if we just look at things a different way, if we just keep going when it seems like we can't go anymore, that little teeny tiny baby steps can make great strides. And so that is the intention that I'm going to leave you guys with. And I'm going to put the cat down here, if that's all right. Okay, so Ishataya sanakua shaka la nyochua poshushi inatiaka alamo obo shasa nayataka anata ianasiata buosha nasiata kona ni ayata anaka isitia bo ushuta sana anaka waka ianatia saka kulujunatata pasa natia ko omataya bola bashatei anayataya ko onosatiata miasata asha pushanatia sana kiata wahanala atianasa kuama shika ina tia na abu ata nashina I akia na utata kapashita nielo una tia na tiene tia tai kubeshana tasia ko ulana ma iata wahana ki tupi shinitala anate kona tia ipikana la anahana siete pu unusu mosana puala shenia tia kuona pi inetia niala I kana shena ta waha sheti I mu ala iata waata na iata masia tolu boja ki inata boja kanaka iashati yanata da yala ubiata hakana tiesho bosha iata na pa uma iko utu pesha kiata na la amahana na sianatia la aneata dianada na sianatia na anea hela tiara moko hana ki na tia kola aina tiata shumitia ti ponatia kana amahana siata la ahna bola ia shukuma piata tiana hana masiana le ia Hushaniata na haki anataya Gotika anata uku lo ni I ata. Bukalera toto kiana tia to ne te tiana tia tia. Na tia ni u ti asa na la yoko no tia ni tia na. Pu u la ni asa na tia tia Tian tia tu ni tiana tia ni tia na. Na anaku uniti asa na tia ko na la hana mi ko une ya. Ya ne ya ana ya hana. Ya na ya. Aya ani ya ni ya sikian ya ni pupi ashitia na ni hata. Nale apone siata moasha ko ni itiata. Yes ana di uniti no kone tia. La ana hana na tu wa po. Ta ya sana hiata na la po. Na ia sene le hana te kiona shene tia kone kibia na dia sana a. Bona shiate kiana ata yo ho kiana shi. Na ya don mo bi kane na. Ia sene tia. Na hana ya po. Kala ashaya. Maya diana siana ha. Na yata ubuyashi tia nasa. Maka no. Na tiata la. Namaste. Okay, so many blessings to you all. See, I was heating, you got chills. I was like heating up. Many blessings to you all, and thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate you spending time with me and hanging out. And hopefully we will see each other soon. And yeah, so thank you guys so much. Blessings. Take care.